Good morning and welcome. I am not Ibrahim Asuri-Balde. I am Ade Darami, and you are watching QTV's This Morning, the program that gives you the brilliant wake-up call that you need every morning. And here I have with me, to my left, Mr. Mamadou Mbodj. Mr. Mbodj, great to have you here.
Absolutely. It's almost like the Weekend Review encore or a variation, isn't it?
It is indeed. And we also have here reviewing the newspapers. We have MD of QTV, Malik Kar. Mr. Kar, welcome to the program.
Good morning. As always, it's my pleasure to join you.
And apologies to the viewers for the slightly late start, but we'll try and pack in as much as possible as we can. And you're probably wondering what's on the menu. Well, we usually have the African proverb to kickstart. Then we have the newspaper review, and we've got 3 newspapers that we'll be delving into today. And as you can see, we're still in Pink October, and so we will have somebody from FEGAMI, Federation of Gambian Muslim Youth, coming to talk about their breast cancer screening that they've been doing for breast cancer and hypertension. And we'll also have, being very energetic, Amadou Oba, talking about the Media Run Challenge. There's another one coming up. So that's what's on the program. So let me dive into the proverb, and then our wise men will test their sort of skills at interpreting it. It says, do not call to a dog with a whip in your hands. Do not call to a dog with a whip in your hands. It actually says hand on the screen. But yeah, which is probably more appropriate. Mr. Kar, you're nodding along. Can I give you the first punt at this one?
It's just like when you want something, you must coax, you must cajole. Don't use intimidation because you will not get what you desire. So in order to get something out of somebody, you have to entice that person. And a dog, obviously, it's better you have a bone and invite the dog towards you than a whip, because it can recognize that the whip would do harm and damage to it, so it will go far away. But with a bone, the dog would easily be attracted. So it depends what you put there for attraction, really, in order to achieve the end. So the means also are important, you know.
And
that's exactly it. Even the image.
Yes,
the image of the man smiling. So how do you approach situations?
Sure.
Isn't it? Not with sort of like, threatening posture. Nothing's going to happen, really. So it's about being calm, approaching situations the right way, as it were, so that you will get the right outcomes and stuff.
So yes, if we want something, it's a case of don't reveal, a kind of nasty side of it, particularly if you want something good to come out of it, then if you're menacing, then you'll turn people off, turn the person off, or even the dog, in this kind of literal sense of this. But have to be more, nice and smiley and cajoling, and in the case of the dog, even if you have the whip, it might be best to conceal it if that was your intention to use it. But yes, if you call to it with it in your hand.
Snarling and all of that, people see you, nobody will come.
Yeah, but only a stupid person will approach you when you have a weapon in your hand.
There are lots of stupid people around.
So it's just an obvious thing that, when you want something, you have to charm that person with something rather than intimidate, with aggression and intent to do harm or inflict harm on that particular individual, so to speak,
So I think for once there's kind of consensus on this one. There's not a kind of no divergent views, but thank you for that. Thank you for that, gentlemen. I will take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll delve into the newspaper review. So let's take a quick break.
Introducing the all-new Q Mobile. Rediscover the essence of mobile communication with a device that brings you back to basics: quality, simplicity, and reliability. The Q Mobile is designed to fit seamlessly into your life, offering essential features without the fuss. 72-hour battery life, keeping you connected longer. Listen to news, prayers, or your favorite shows with the FM radio on Q Phone. A built-in torchlight, always ready when you need it, memory card slot for expandable storage, and dual SIM capability for flexibility and convenience. Why wait? Step into any of our care centers today and get your hands on the most affordable phone for just $600. Plus, enjoy a bonus package of 300 minutes talk time and 300 SMS spread over 3 months. absolutely free. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Senior Boss. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Atanong, oro mobile amen keso pura andere Q mobile. Mobile on no yade jamano. Tenon kadi no webi na fitora golmo. Tenon mojogi piji bui. Battery on ko bal etati. FM radio. Lampu. Memory card storage. Ko SIM card ili o jetata pura andrede dual SIM. Dogu joni ya ka customer care center jamen. Soda odo mobile. Temede jego rek te a heɓay temed tati minitaji ɗi anduɗa a wowlay te non a heɓay kadi ko ɓura andrede temed tati sms te a yoɓata hay hunde ɓe sendanama ɗum e nder lebbi tati si tawiɗa faala hen ko laaɓi noddu qcell customer care e 111 qcell suñu bos minen udditi laawol ngol si woɓɓe jokki ɗum no yaadi e sartaji.
Welcome back after that break. You're watching QTV's This Morning program, the program that's better than a cup of tea or coffee first thing in the morning. At least that's what we keep telling ourselves. As you can see, no tea, no coffee. We don't need it. We've got this program. So next up, we have the newspaper review, gentlemen, and some very interesting headlines in the newspapers. So if I can kind of throw the first one out there. It says top engineer suggests broad study on Basse River flooding. I'm not sure what they mean by suggests, but we carried a story last night on the flooding in Basse and how it has forced people to evacuate homes, shops, you name it. There are various institutions that have had to close because people can't access them. There are people that we spoke to who said they've been there for over 20 years. They've never seen flooding, as intense as this. So really quite serious.
Obviously, it's a sub-regional issue, as we can see. In Senegal, the flows has also, the river have busted and caused a lot of damage around Bakel. So it's also in many of the countries around. So this goes to affirm that climate change is really a realistic thing that we have to adjust to. I don't know what they ought to do, but they can look into seeing how they can diverse some of the water or create waterways that will allow the river to flow. But the riverbanks are busting and it's impacting a lot, especially communities that are settled along the banks. We have seen the impact in Basse, obviously, where the market is very close to the river.
Edge of the river.
So what they ought to do, either to relocate the market, taking into consideration that this is a new phenomenon that might be something that we should be expecting annually. So, but it would be a tough call because it's not going to be an easy task, considering that that is the commercial hub of Basse and many of the other, wharf towns, so to speak. So it's important that they look into it as a new phenomenon that has come, and it has come to stay because of climate change. And what ought to be done ought to be, a holistic approach to studying it and then understanding the patterns as to going forward.
Yeah, and what's your take on it?
It's a good thing that an engineer has come out to say this.
Right.
So this is it. We need our technical expertise, as it were, to be helping in this. This is how you build resilience, isn't it?
That's
right. So that's it. Some areas will be vulnerable, as it were, to flooding. So what can we do about it? And then we set
because
to work,
one of the people that we interviewed in our story actually said essentially what Malik has just said, that they should build the market further away, further inland. But also we had people saying that some of these people built where they had been told not to build because it was near the river. And some of them had said they'd experienced flooding before, but not as intense and not as bad as it has been this year. It's been really, really terrible. I mean, for those of us who live in kind of Greater Banjul, this seems really strange to us because we've had some heavy rainfall during the rain season, but it's kind of subsided. We're talking about these people now enduring this still right now when we're having completely dry weather and no hint of flooding in this part of the country.
I think the water table have risen, and that is why
Is
the
that-
banks bust.
Yeah.
So what is happening is the flow of water coming from the Futa Jalon,
Mhm,
because the rains is not just here.
Well, that's right.
You have to have it build up upstream
Yeah.
and then flowing. I think if you
flows down,
invite
sir.
people like Alpha Robinson, who is a hydraulic engineer, will be able maybe to give analysis.
And even this engineer who's
Yeah,
yes.
But
You know.
different areas have their specific vulnerabilities.
Well, that's true.
So,
True.
so how do we address all these specific
how low
areas?
are they in
That's
certain
it,
areas
exactly.
and how high,
Yeah.
because
Stuff like
you have obviously the river meandering from here up to Fototo, and then
Yeah.
the contours of the river, the variation in terms of height and all these things ought to be looked at. So if they look at the topography of it, they can advise certain settlements as to what ought to be done in certain areas. I think, like you said, this is an area that you really need an expert to come and make an understudy, or the government for that matter, make a thorough understudy. The Ministry of Environment, I'm so have a lot of people that are capable of, doing it.
You see. And
Yeah,
in the
so-
meantime, though, those affected, what next?
What next? Yeah,
The
because
sort of
That's
help,
where the
the
NDMA
humanitarian
will
will come in,
interventionist
that sort of
measures
thing,
in
yeah.
order to
Sure.
assist, in terms of
Absolutely.
crisis. I'm sure they would have, acted in order
Sure.
to support and assist. And also your issue of insurance comes into play,
It's big time.
where you have shops around the river banks. If they are insured, natural disasters such as this, maybe there are things that they could benefit from.
and this is
especially
we know people are so reluctant to take insurance, but
Yeah,
if you
and
had
that is-
insurance, then
that
it could
is-
cover something like
yeah.
this. But yeah. So there's another interesting story also from the Point newspaper to the bottom right of the front page, and it says, "Man who hypnotized police officer gets 4 years imprisonment." I mean,
I don't know about that.
only in Africa you get these kind of stories, I have to say. Man who hypnotized, what was he charged? What was the charge?
have not-
Hypnotizing a police officer? Is
And
that
what
a
does that
charge?
mean?
Yeah.
That I can just, I don't know, I can just turn him into a kind of zombie.
Why didn't
He's
he
not
hypnotize? Why
aware.
didn't he hypnotize the magistrate or
Yeah,
the judge?
I don't get it, I don't get it,
I
yeah.
get a lighter sentence. He got 4 years.
Mhm.
But that's an interesting one. I just found
Yeah,
it funny.
It is very
This
interesting.
is, yeah, so we'll skip over that one. And again, the Fourier, again, with a picture, very dramatic picture, nightmare flooding his upper river region. We've already dealt with that. And then again, another one of these that we get bored, we get depressed reading, I should say. Migrants die in boat journey to Europe. We seem to get one of these every week, and it's getting really, really depressing. And
I
very
hope
sad.
these agreements that they have signed with the EU and others might mitigate, if not, resolve the issue for those that want to travel and take the right channels and the routes. I don't know, organizations have been accredited, so to speak, so that they can, identify those that can go and do seasonal work and come back.
Yeah.
Maybe that would be able to some degree,
Yeah.
if not resolve it, help.
That's
Yeah.
it, man. But again, you read some studies as well. They've been studying Spain's scheme.
Yeah.
It's been on for 2 years.
That's right.
They're like, it will have minimal effect
Yeah.
unless
It
you
depends how
target.
it's replicated. If you
Well,
have more
because
countries, if it's
I think the reason
successful-
why the Spain scheme and others like it will have minimal effect is because you're asking people to come on a kind of short-term, 1 year, 2 year contract and then tell them to return. Most of our people who go there, they don't want to come back. They want to be there
And
for
the
15,
numbers.
20 years.
How many can
And
you take really per
when
year?
you're talking about, 40,000 people went in very short space of time over the last, couple of years. You're not going to absorb that number in this because that's not what they want. It's not what they're after. Many of them, they want to go there.
It's a big challenge, and
It's a
it's
huge
not
challenge.
just peculiar to Gambia.
No.
I mean,
Go
it's
ahead.
a phenomenon that is...
It's global. It's worldwide. That's why it's a
Yes,
big
I mean,
thing in the American elections.
Yeah,
Even migration.
The channel between England and France
Yeah,
also they
yeah.
use it. So it's something that's
Mm-hmm.
very difficult to deal with. It's just the issue of poverty in the global south, and the search is for greener pasture in the global north, and that imbalance have to be corrected in order really to reverse these things. Otherwise, I cannot see stem of this flow being stopped.
Yeah, quite. So there are two. I'll take the kind of linked newspaper story. One from Point says government to construct another 150 kilometers of roads in 2025, according to Minister Silla. And then when you come to Foroya, it says some OIC road project victims yet to be compensated. So they're still waiting for compensation, according to this headline. You know, we were saying that, you know, some of the people who had been moved were promised that they had built
they have to
quite legally,
those, yes.
and in those instances where you had built legally because you were given proper permission, not bribed and got permission to build somewhere you shouldn't, you would get compensated. Others who built illegally would get no compensation. So I guess according to this, there are some.
I think even before the projects are started, those things have to be
They should have been
addressed
sorted
first,
out.
and then
These projects are almost completed.
It's welcoming news, really. Road infrastructure, we cannot have
correct.
enough of it because since independence to now, we realize that we are deficient when it comes to roads. And really, you cannot have any progress or development in the absence of good road infrastructure because it connects communities, it enables trade, it allows movement of goods and services. You know, it creates that atmosphere, you know, where industries and other things can thrive. You can easily grow some oranges at Brikama or Fatoto somewhere and transport it to Banjul. And that type of trade relations between communities is an economic boost that will definitely impact the lives of the people.
Yes, it's good. I mean, also from Foroya, bottom left, Senegal's President Faye commits to process raw materials, I guess, to do them in-house rather than export them. We've seen how Nigeria is taking them decades before they've decided to have home-based oil refineries, and they're still one of the few oil-producing countries where they have petrol shortages.
That has been a challenge for
staggering.
Most African countries as well since independence. If you see cocoa and many other products that we produce, and yet still we don't add value to
the
it.
one I always point to is we have iron ore in almost all of West Africa. We have corrugated iron roofs. We import, until recently, we used to import all of that. Everywhere you go across West Africa, there are corrugated iron roofs, and the iron ore comes from here, was not processed here. We send it abroad, and then we buy those things. That's just
even
beyond
Liberia,
belief.
the rubber, the trees,
Rubber.
You know, where you
Firestone,
make these
they got one of the
tires.
biggest employers in Liberia.
It's about time that we industrialize, and then we link agriculture to industrialization, at least at a small scale, until it evolves and develops to huge industrial, you know. But industrialization also is easier said than done, because one, you need the capacity, you need the capital, you need the mechanics, the machinations, and all these things have to be.
Well, I guess the likes of Jomai Faye and also Mamadi Doumbouya, because he's been making similar noises, is because now they're expecting revenues from oil in the case of Senegal, and from iron and diamonds in the case of Guinea-Conakry.
Yeah, absolutely. You gotta have expertise. You gotta have the political will.
Sure.
It really goes on from
to
there.
make it happen.
This is really a massive problem, isn't it? So all of these bringing technology and all the rest of it, but without an industrial base. That is why very soon you bring a tractor, well, it stops working. Repairs. We need parts. Absolutely. If you don't have an industrial base, it's really very difficult to do
I guess
certain
countries
things.
that also trade that part must have been faced with those challenges. Notwithstanding, you cannot allow those challenges
it doesn't happen
to
overnight.
beat you. You have to take them on and see. Like if you take, for instance, groundnut and oil production, some of them are simple things that you can start with. Like here at Saro, they used to produce a lot of oil from the groundnut. Now we export all. We can reduce the importation of oil by just, processing some of the groundnuts that we grow here and then convert it. Palm oil, the same. We can process it also and have palm oil. So there are a lot of things that, that we can start with. Some of them, does not have to be huge if we talk about industrialization, not massive major industries, but we can start with small-scale industries, address some of these things and start reducing the deficit in terms of trade imbalance, and then save a lot of foreign, revenue, and then also impact on the value of our currencies as well. So there is a lot of correlation between some of these things that we ought to look at.
Absolutely, and it sounds so easy.
And why hasn't it been done?
But man is holistic. The technological, the social. That
I think you mentioned the thing about the will. There has to be the will. There has to be the foresight.
Will,
there has to be
the
planning,
foresight, and the know-how.
And well, this is
and
it.
the know-how. You're going to know how to get things done from our leaders. We talk a lot. There's all of this political rhetoric, but the virtuosity to do things.
I appreciate the tinge of cynicism that you have taking into consideration the history.
I think it's realism.
Nonetheless,
it's realism based on what has happened in the recent past.
Nonetheless, it has to start somewhere.
Of course.
Somehow. We have a lot of fruits, mangoes. We can be producing some of these, mango juice, dahar juice, all these things, and manufacture them locally. So what I'm saying, you can start from a baseline that, is just, reasonable, manageable, and then move it forward as you progress in terms of your revenue base, your capacitization of your human capital, training. The youngsters are here, science and technology, improving that. Once you address those areas of knowledge deficit, you should be able to really do it.
When you go to Cape Verde, they tell you we have nothing. And essentially they have nothing. They have no minerals and so on. But if you see how beautifully they package their locally produced stuff and export it, you'd be amazed. It's like, it isn't rocket science.
Sometimes
it just needs
the belief and the training.
Yeah.
So if you have all these things converge, you can achieve a lot of things. You can have that qualitative and quantitative leap into developing your country. It's amazing what you can do. But then you have to fix a lot of things in the system.
There are a lot of
things
like
leakages. That's where you address issues of leakages, corruption, all these things, and also ability, the capacity of people to be able to deliver. And also, there are a lot of things that have to converge for it to really happen.
This is it. And when we talk about an enabling environment, it goes beyond just government passing the laws that allow these things. It's the enabling environment. He used the word holistic. It has to be. Everything has to work. There has to be no leakages, no corruption, and so on.
It's not just government.
And it's not just government.
It has to be the change
holistic.
It's
everybody.
The change of culture, the change of approach. With all these things, you can definitely transform a society. That's why we call it a revolution. That's what Senegal is trying to do. They're trying to change direction. They call it system change. It's a revolutionary concept, new notions, new ideas that they want to implement. It's going to be a challenge, but the political will, the vision, and the desire is there. So let's see how it's going to turn out. Hopefully.
But isn't it interesting that all revolutionaries, day after the revolution, you become a reactionary. Because you want people to take time, it will happen, but take time. So change really.
Fidel Castro was the kind of classic example.
Exactly.
He ended up staying longer than the dictator that he had deposed. And yet,
that is about democratic institutions also have to be inbuilt in that. Revolution does not necessarily equate to self-perpetuation. All these things ought to be addressed. It's not necessarily just the revolutionaries. You have to understand that era. Even non-revolutionaries were also self-perpetuating. So it was just a kind of system that was in existence at the time. But people are becoming more conscious, more aware now in terms of demands and accountability.
And like you said about Senegal. Well, he is. I think one has to be. I mean, and not to kind of say anything kind of negative about anybody else, but I think those of us who have relocated from Europe to Africa, in a sense, we have to be optimistic, and that's why we came back. Because if we were pessimistic, we had good jobs there. We could have stayed there, and gone on. But you come back hoping that there will be this change, that this change will happen. Because if you don't have that optimism, that hope, then it then gets really depressing. And the thing is, when we come back, we realize it's not easy, and it's not going to happen overnight.
No, it's a lot easier now even than then, because technological transfer now. It's a lot. I mean, now technology have proliferated all over the place. You can easily adapt from other people or adjust or buy, and we have seen it. The belief that Dangote had in order to venture into huge project, to say that we can do it in Nigeria rather than going to refine. anybody would have told him, you are crazy, you are a fool.
And they did tell
How
him that.
can you, with all these challenges, you list out all the challenges that, the hurdles that he was going to meet, the impediments of impossibility. But nonetheless, it's the resolution, the belief and the vision. And then you can do it, and ultimately you will be able to achieve it.
And
that's very interesting. I was also, at some point, I was just so optimistic, but suddenly it's been receding.
I think realism
get
hits.
older.
Yeah,
realism hits you. It's not even about getting older.
When I think about climate change, we are just so vulnerable. We'll be radically transformed. We do not have the technology. It's not going to happen soon.
Yeah, go ahead.
The sort of stuff that we need so that we can protect ourselves, that takes time to build up. I think that there'll be some terrible things will happen. It doesn't mean that evenly all over. Some will suffer more than others, I suspect. I think that some very interesting climate change devastation it will bring on to us.
Let me give you a good example. There was a story which came on the newspapers yesterday about a forest being cleared and the people of Sukuta objecting to it. Now, just a couple of months ago, we did a story about people planting trees in that very area. And now that area is now being cleared for industrialization.
Left intact.
Some
of these forests have to be protected for natural reasons because they add to the quality of life. What we breed, some are not very visible in terms of their impact as to the quality of life. But these are important. That's why environmentalists are up in arms when you touch some of those things. And it's just local. It's not just local. This is international because, a lot of people are observing and watching these things. And we cannot allow every of our forests and some of the natural flora and fauna to be just, decimated just like that, and we sit back. We have to preserve it for our own health and for the future generations.
The home of the Banjul Declaration.
Yeah, quite.
In the
How
70s,
ironic.
We got there before most people did. Now look at us now. What a reversal.
Yeah, go ahead.
And that's why I encourage, and you lose it. We are losing it.
This is it. And that's why I encourage all these environmental groups that lots of young people are starting. I say, don't give up, But for those who went and planted trees a couple of months ago, they must be
I have seen a lot of groups and organizations doing that, and it's commendable. Yeah. We appreciate that. We should continue that.
Yeah. So I'm not sure how much longer we have on the newspapers, but just a few quick ones. Ex-Lo Nyumi National Assembly member Matar Jeng dies. That's in the, I wasn't aware until I saw it a few minutes ago.
And sympathy to the family.
So our condolences to the family. That one. And sort of another ex-NAM seeking asylum in Scotland.
That's very personal and private. I wouldn't want to comment either way on him.
On the one seeking asylum.
So those are,
okay. And then also from the Standard, police reassure visitors, residents of safety in the Gambia. And I think we know why this is from. We had CODE, the Coalition of African Descendants. They had a press conference over the weekend where another member who had relocated from the UK was found murdered, and it was about the 6th or 7th.
Does that have any relation with the American travel advice as well, or
it might be linked. It might be linked. And in fact, I'm glad you mentioned that because, America State Department put out this travel advisory about the Gambia, and they're talking about crime. And people should be, and it made me wonder whether we ever put out travel advisories for America, for Gambians who go there. I mean, saying don't go to America because the murder rate is through the roof. I mean, how dare they? I mean, America of all people, telling people not to come to countries because of violence and crime when.
Well, I think they've been responded to by the state as well. I think, it's over-exaggerated.
They exaggerate these things.
Around the Casamas border in terms of certain things,
But again,
that was a conflict zone.
We exaggerated ourselves. Yeah. How many times have we sat here, people talking about that moral panic, there's too much crime, there's too much. We're doing it ourselves as well.
Classic example, when the 2 police officers were shot and killed, we sat here and people were calling us saying, arm all police officers. It's the first incident of its kind.
And that goes to affirm to the fact that the crime level is really not that high.
No,
because when
so that when one crime happens, it's a big story. Then
big deal that, but society, that's the nature of society. Sometimes it goes like this. Things tend to happen at a certain period, especially during this period of Christmas and when activities and events, people are busy, you tend to have a lot of incidents of theft, of robbery, and all these things. But nonetheless, you know, the state have it as a duty and a responsibility obliged to the people to ensure that they protect the lives and property of the people. So.
Well, this is it, and as you said, I think, you know, the police says reassure visitors and residents of safety. And the reason they're talking about this is because we're just at the start of the tourism season.
Yeah.
So the press conference that was held, even though code members have had said, you know, we are staying.
Gambia is very safe.
And that's what they're saying. They said, don't let these things turn you off. So
you will have
those who are thinking of
That's
leaving.
just natural and normal. But in relative terms, it's really safe.
But what they felt that they were being, as a kind of returnee community, being targeted, and they wanted to address this.
Okay. How many incidents do they have?
I think about 8.
Wow. Okay, that's quite significant.
So it's
but this
high.
one I was reading was the driver. So it's people
It's been
that are
arrested,
very close.
And I think in all the cases so far, including that of Shakina Chinedu, the people arrested were people who worked. In fact, I think in all the cases,
very close
they were
to them.
Gambians or well, not Gambians, but people living in Gambia. Because I think in Shakina, I think it was a Sierra Leonean person that was charged with her murder. And in this one, as you said, the driver, they've all been people working with the people.
Very close,
and so it's kind of depressing.
Most murders are like that.
Most murders
people very close
around
to
the
you.
world.
Around the world. That's
people,
a statistic.
People that that know people kill other people. So yeah. It's no different.
It's not like random kind of.
It's not random. So they
activities.
felt kind of targeted.
So that's a very difficult one.
It's a
to
difficult
deal
one
with.
because some of them
random. They go.
Exactly.
So they must be very selective based on advice as to people that they mingle or interact
and
with.
that sort of thing.
friend.
You remember we
To
talked
know,
about
you
that.
know.
The Chakina's case.
Because,
Yeah.
they have to seek advice and counseling in this period. We wish them all the best and we welcome them. We want all the people,
of course,
especially our diasporan, you know, to really come to the Gambia.
Right, make this your home. Thank you, Mr.
Smiling
Carr.
Coast, you're welcome.
Let's keep on smiling in the smiling coast. Mr. Carr, thank you for your interjections on the newspaper. And we will go for a break, and after the break we'll come back with another couple of segments. So don't go away. Join us after this break.
Felenting a Q-Smart and in Q-Smart Plus na falie hade natal seniaringol set aka wallata akata bake yenyin soto kat ko mobile tariyarim ba andum foka pare ala batterio beta ala wati jande aka ji Q-Smart ya 5.9 immersive display la soto nyindu mu dalasi wuli sabanin kemenani da malati ni mobile o nyin sang iba bondulo soto la min tata for 15 GB andung kemeni muang free talk time fanam betara yele warning keme saba SMS o foka pare nyimbe mu free lati ni mobile o nyin sang walante fana ni lafta Q Smart Plus la wo fanam bijele ice screen warman bala soto minketa 6.5 inches de anin dalasi wuli nani damma isa nyi mobile o soto no andu foka pare afana nim bundle package ole nata iba 30 GB data soto la yekeme saba SMS o soto ani yekeme ni muang talk time soto nyimbe dun hani feng ita jola kana tu koma ila Q Smart ni ila Q Smart Plus soto B kabo Q Cell isa nyi mobile o soto no B na customer care belt o mimba nyi banko kan momo lafta kuma ko yo mo ila nyinto isa na customer care bunjulola ni 111 Q Cell sunyu boss dole silo walang dole abulan numa nyindum ani sartolle nata
It's happy time. Get 50% off all calls to any network. Enjoy calls every day to any network from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Is it too good to be true? QCell. We innovate, others follow. As the fastest growing GSM company in the Gambia, QCell has the widest 4G plus coverage in the country, 3 times faster internet speed than our competitors. So switch now and dial *335# and enjoy what true 4G feels like. QCell, the Gambia's trusted network. QCell, the fastest growing network in the Gambia, now presents to you the eSIM. QCell's eSIM allows you to electronically scan a code and join the world of digital SIM cards. Customers with physical SIMs can easily switch to the eSIM as well. So rush now and get connected with an eSIM and start using the latest mobile technology with your trusted GSM operator. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunubus. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Get a QCell SIM card for free. Yes, absolutely free. Walk into any of our customer care centers and get a SIM free of charge. With a QCell SIM card, you can get the fastest and the most reliable internet plus wide range of amazing services. So rush now to any of our care centers and get a free SIM now. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell Sunubus. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Have you been looking for the perfect indoor router with long-range Wi-Fi coverage and faster internet speed connecting all your smart devices? Well, we present to you the QCell Indoor Router, a router that has all you need and much more. For just $4,275, you can get 4G plus internet speed, wide coverage, and connect up to 15 devices. That's not all. The indoor router can be used for both office and home needs. So, enhance your internet experience with our indoor router. For more info, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunubus. We innovate, others follow.
Hello and welcome back, and we hope you enjoyed the newspaper review. And now on to another matter. Most viewers would have seen me rocking the pink ribbon. This is in honor of sister, cousin, friend Verna Iskandari Johnson, who was a victim of breast cancer, and it's in memory of her that I wear this. And I'm also a trustee of a cancer charity. And in the next segment we have two people from the Federation of Gambian Muslim Youth. Now, normally when I introduce somebody on this program, I spend a lot of time introducing them and then they introduce themselves. But this time I will let our two guests introduce themselves. So Binta, please introduce yourself and tell the viewers who you are and what your role is with FEGAMI.
So good morning to you all. My name is Bintu Jagana, and I'm the Assistant Finance Minister, or should I say the current Acting Finance Minister of FEGAMI. That is the Federation of the Gambian Muslim Youth.
Yes.
And I'm at the same time a current fourth year medical student.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. And Doc?
Good morning. My name is Almami Kante, Dr. Almami Kante. I am serving at FEGAMI as the Secretary General. At the moment I'm working at the FSTH, Damban and Banjul, basically.
Okay. Both of you, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Now, we featured some of your activities during this month, October month. So, Doctor, if I could come to you first, can you just tell the viewers what some of the activities are that you've carried out? You've done hypertension as well, but this time we'll focus on the breast cancer stuff that you've done.
Thank you very much. Part of FEGAMI, like when you look at our membership, like the name Federation of Gambian Muslim Youth, activities is usually focused on Muslims and any activity that affects us directly or indirectly. And we realized that most of our members are women, most of them are female, and here comes breast cancer. So we thought that it was very important to have an activity like such to create awareness, because it's October, and October is a month to create awareness about breast cancer. We thought it was wise to have an activity like this so that we can at least sensitize most of our members on this. So on the 26th of this month, that was last weekend, Saturday, we had a successful outreach about breast cancer, where at least we had a discussion with some of our members and also the general population, especially at Banjul in the senior secondary school.
Okay. Binta, if I can come to you. What are some of the roles that you played during this Pink October specifically?
Okay, so during the planning, I was on exams, so I couldn't join. But alhamdulillah, on the day itself, I was there. I participated in the hypertension screening per se. I was in the hypertension screening team. But it wasn't really choked up like the, because it was like two different setups.
Right.
You have the hypertension screening team and the breast cancer screening team.
And you had more people.
Yeah, more people were interested in the breast cancer. So, like at the end of the day, I had like less work to do. In fact, I was not doing anything at the hypertension. So I went to join my colleagues at that were doing the breast cancer screening.
Okay. So Dr. Kante, if I can come back to you. This one you've done has been in a kind of a condensed area, let's say. I mean, nationwide, what are the hopes, aspirations for FEGAMI for this sort of thing going forward?
This is the first time we organize an activity like such, but the hope is to be having more of it. Like I said, most of our members are female. Right. This is something that affects everybody. So having this is more like a test in the grounds and see how it goes. And the response has been positive so far. So we're looking forward to having more of these activities in different parts of the country. Like this first thing we have was at Banjul, but there is hope that we might have it somewhere around this greater Banjul area, or at least maybe in the Banjuls and all that. Because at FEGAMI we are endowed with like a lot of health workers. So one of the ways we feel that we can give back freely to our members is having activity like such. So it's not only about breast cancer, but anything that has to do with Islam, anything that has to do with, youths, anything that has to do with the country and all that. As long as we have the person and we just want to give it at least to the country at a free service or so.
Somebody would like to comment?
Yeah, and you've mentioned the word that I've actually written down, people's responses. You said impressive or whatever. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, I mean in terms of the number, when we had it, it was the first time we had it at we organized such an activity, Banjulinding, but the turnout was impressive. I mean, we were not expecting to have a number like such. We have, I think, close to 100 people that were screened for breast cancer during the activity. So we feel that, and this is not like, because when we announced it, it was more for the school-going children, especially those that are, in the grade 9s and all that. So we realized that most of them were on exams or having, weekend classes and all that. But even with that, we were able to have a number as something close to 100 or so, which we feel was very, very, very good. I mean, if we had opened it to the general population, it's going to be greater than that. That's the hope. Yeah.
Okay. So your organization, I wonder, what's the membership like? How big is it? What are the areas to sort of intervene?
Any area, it's like generally like Federation of Gambia Muslim Youth. So it's, anybody that calls yourself a Muslim and you're in the country and you're youth, by default, you are part of the organization. So I will say our membership is large because the people we are represented is actually large. But in terms of registered members, we have a constraint with that. But so I don't have the exact statistics of that, the number. But I can say from our name, we are representing everybody. As long as you are Muslim, you're youth, and you are part of us.
That's it. I asked that because I think it's important that with organizations, you know how many people actively go and join, and be active members. That really helps the democratic process.
And also, I think we should tell people you have a very active Facebook page.
Yes.
Which is updated because I check it regularly. And you feature all of your activities there, and so if people want, they can go and look up and see what you've done across the board. And so I know we're talking mainly about breast cancer. So when you've gone out, what are some of the messages that you're giving people as they are about to be screened? So if either of you can.
Yeah, so when the aim was screening, because breast cancer, early detection saves a lot of life. So that was the main message that we were giving to the people that we saw. And when we interact with them, most of them will come and we'll examine them, especially those that we feel are high risk. Because before we start our screening, there are like some of the questions that we ask. When it comes to breast cancer, we have risk factors to this condition. So we want to ask some questions about that. And when we feel that, okay, these individuals are at risk, maybe we want to examine them, or we examine them during the screening. If we find something that is remarkable, something that is, abnormal, we can just give our advice and maybe send them to the nearest hospital to do the follow-up investigations.
Okay.
If they don't have anything that is out of the blues, that is unremarkable, we advise them on self-breast examination. So two key messages: screening, that is us, and you also screen yourself by regularly doing self-breast examinations.
Bindu, you were nodding along. I don't know whether you wanted to come in with something to add to what is Dr. Kante has just said.
Yeah. So I think something that struck me during the screening was the fact that we had a lot of young girls coming in and they were like, we want to get screened, we want to get screened. So I told them, okay, right now you're not at a high risk of having it.
Yeah, go ahead.
So it's better you go, because we were also having sessions with another doctor, that is Dr. Pasamba.
Right.
So he was having sessions with the students, talking to them about breast cancer, how they can screen themselves, things they should know about it. Right. So I told them you should be there, but they thought I was trying to send them away from actually getting screened. But I think the thing is, as young female Muslims, we should be interested in seeking knowledge, like knowing whatever is going on in your
With
society,
yourself,
exactly yourself too, you should be willing to know what is going on with you. So I think that was a part that really struck me, the part that the students were able to learn a whole lot.
So Dr. Kande, Bintu's mentioned something there about age. We had a lot of these young women. So what is the age group that should be most at risk,
affected? So
statistically.
When you statistics will tell you about 46 years or so, some will say between 40 and 50. But sometimes you come across patients that are even less than that.
Yeah,
I've seen patients that are under 25 and they are diagnosed with breast cancer. It even happened to a colleague of mine. So all of this happened. So when we say age, 45, 50, it's just statistically, but it doesn't mean it is always there. Sometimes it can be even a young population.
So,
yeah.
Thank you. So we talk about Pink October. How do we get people to think about this throughout the year, not just every October? How do we do that?
I think to be able to do that is just by just giving emotional support to people that are around you, because we live in a country where things like this, we feel it's so sensitive. Sometimes you see people with certain conditions, they even hide it. So if you know about it, or at least now that you've been hearing that, I think many youths have been going around talking about breast cancer. So now that you know about it, it's better. It will only be nice to put it at the back of your mind that there's something called breast cancer, and research has so shown that 1 out of every 8 women is at risk of having breast cancer. So that woman could be me, it could be anybody. So you're not sure. So I think having it at the back of your mind that it could be me, it could be my mom, it could be my sister. So I think that would really go a long way in reminding us about it.
Just one more thing. Yeah. You said the most vulnerable sort of age bracket between 40 and 50. Younger than that, are there any telltale signs?
Yes. In fact, this was the main point of our visit, because we know that we are approaching a very young population. But you want to tell them the signs and symptoms so that when they have them, they're worried. So among them is you have changes in their breast. So say for instance, somebody can come and just out of the blue, out of their menses, because we expect that. Most women, before their menses, few days before their menses, they experience pain. And shortly after it, they also experience pain. But if it is not within that time and they just spontaneously experience breast pain, those are question marks. Breast changes, like the skin changes. You see that it's a bit red and all that. Skin dimpling, you see that I know most women like it when they have dimples. They say beautiful ladies have dimples, but it's always a cause of concern when you have it on your breast. You see that the nipple is a bit inside, retracted and all that stuff. You feel that, you feel things that we call lump medically, but it's more like stones, like hair they call it. If you see things like that on your breast, you should be worried. It is not always that having that in your breast is breast cancer. But when you have it, at least do your first self-examination, but also seek help and investigations will be done to see whether at least you are or you're not.
That's it.
These things can be caused by infection, but to be on the safer side, I mean, it's always important to seek help when you have those.
And it's never really a death sentence. The earlier detected.
Thank you very much. In fact, thank you very much for putting that forward. I mean, breast cancer is such that the earlier you detect it, the better the prognosis. Right. And we realize that most people that come to us, especially at FSTH, I've seen a couple of patients that come to me, and the time that they get to you, it's already advanced. And as a doctor, you cannot do much at that time.
Sure.
But I've given you an example of somebody that is a colleague that had breast cancer, detected early, and was treated successfully.
Sure.
So I've seen both sides of this story. I mean, it's not something that, it's a story also. This is something that I've seen when during my practice. So it's very important. That is why this science that we talk about is important. It is not always breast cancer, but it's always important that when you see it, I mean, do what needs to be done so that you are on the safer side.
So Bintu, how do we convince people to kind of shed some of the fear, some of the myths and so on, to come out for, as you say, early detection? We said, the early detection could end up saving your life. How do we get this message out there so that people respond to it? What needs to be done?
Okay, so regarding that, I think us that know about it, at least if not all about it, like I'm still a medical student, so the doctors obviously know more about it than I do. But if you know about it, when you're seated with people chatting, even at the banter bars, usually us sisters, we sit discussing about people. I think it will make more sense, instead of talking about people, you talk to your friends about it. Okay, have you heard this thing called breast cancer? Do you know that this is the way you screen? This is how you do the physical screening, because it's not difficult. This is how you do it. You talk to them about it and encourage them to do it like frequently, because sometimes it's very, very good to know how like your normal self is. So if you know your normal self, once you see an abnormal thing or some abnormalities, you know that, okay, there's something going on.
Sure.
So it's best, when you detect that, it's best to go to the hospital. At least at that stage, the doctors will be able to help you and hopefully you will be cured. But if you are not able to detect it, like you don't even know your own normal, so there's no way you're going to know that, okay, there's something that is wrong with me. So I think let's make it something that is very normal, instead of making it a sensitive matter to talk about.
Sure.
So let's sit in our banter bars, let's sit in our parlors with your mom, your sisters, talk about it. As long as you know about it, even if it's a thing you know about it, even if it's just one symptom you know about it, talk to people about it. I think it will go a long way in saving people from
Exactly,
good. So, Doctor, you have the word youth in the name of the organization. So do you take these messages to schools, to colleges, and so on? How do you do that?
Exactly.
How do you interact with them?
More reason why we had this recent activity at Banjulinding High School, targeting at least people that are within that youth group. The aim is to get to youth, but like breast cancer is early detection, saves more lives. So if you can you can get it at that early age, when you will save a lot of life. So aim is to have it in youth gatherings, basically. Like, we're happy that having this activity here, and we want to make sure that at least youths that are following us get this message also. Having it in schools, senior schools, because this is where we have the membership, will be a very, very important way of getting the message to them. Because at that age, if they get it, we're sure that we are doing the right thing.
Now, we know that in very rare cases, men can have it.
Yes.
Did any men come forward to be screened?
Yeah, so that's the fortunate part of the story. Statistics will tell you about 0.5 to 1% of men will have breast cancer.
Sure.
So it is common in women, but doesn't mean that men don't have it. And to give this message, it is usually more fatal in men than women. Like in medicine, we call it like common things occur commonly, but common things, the uncommon things kills faster than the common things. So those of us that is a male folk, that like anytime you see a guy that has something like this and you're thinking about breast cancer, most of the time they are fatal. Unfortunately, during the screening, we do not have any man, because when you say breast, everybody thinks about women, and naturally we all have breast tissues, even though ours is not well developed as that of the ladies. But it's important that men also come out, like she mentioned. Men come out, men do self breast examinations. Men know they are normal, so that when abnormalities are there, they can keep it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So final messages from both of you. First of all, from you, Bintu. Final message to the viewers and to anybody watching.
Okay, so I would encourage the youths out there, that is the sisters especially. I'm not being biased though, but then
but we know.
Yeah,
we know.
but the sisters especially, to please do not joke with your health. Try to make sure, like I mentioned earlier, know you're normal, like know yourself.
True.
Yeah, there's no one that can know you better than your own self. So try to know yourself and be very conscious of your body, because that is the only way you'll be able to detect things earlier. So be it breast cancer, be it whatever cancer it is, or any diseases, once you know yourself very well, like once you see an abnormality, immediately you know that, okay, this is not right, something is wrong somewhere. So immediately you know that, okay, I should try to see a doctor. So I think I'll just advise us to be alert of ourselves and get to know your body more.
And you, Dr. Kanda, in 30 seconds?
I wanted to request for more time so I can talk about the risk factors, but since time doesn't allow us, I mean, final word would be examine yourself and do it like continuously. During our outreach, we told the youth that were there, that is the women folk that were there, learn how to self-breast examine, but also teach others, and it becomes a continuation. Do it every month, at least few days after your menses. In that way, I mean, you were able to pick something that is abnormal over there, but also make sure you teach the others also.
Well, you said you wanted to mention something about risk factors.
Yes. I mean, the breast cancers, people have asked me personally, breast cancer, what causes breast cancer, and things along that line. So there is what we call medically, in medicine, risk factors. So it's going to be very difficult to say X causes breast cancer or Y causes, but we have a lot of breast cancers, risk factors to breast cancers. And those risk factors are divided into what we call the modifiable and the non-modifiable causes. I mean, modifiable means things that you can change, where you and I and everybody have a responsibility in that, and those that we cannot change. So somebody that has a family history, say for instance, first generation, you cannot do much about it. I mean, but you just have to be on on caution. I mean, patients that have but some of the modifiable one, I think we can just dilate some of those things. I mean, that is, for instance, somebody that is obese, and most of the ladies, you know, they're obese. Contraception use also does it. It has the good side, it has the bad side of the thing. I mean, smoking also does it, and because it has to do with estrogen. It has to do with estrogen. Smoking, alcohol, all of those have it. There are others, any condition basically that exposes you to estrogen for a prolonged period of time can predispose you to that.
Okay, so unfortunately we have to end it there. Doctor, but thank you for that educational interjection there. But thank you, and I'm glad we did get to the risk factors. So Bintu and Dr. Kande, thank you. And we'll take a quick break, and after the break we'll delve into the Media Run Challenge. Don't go away. Join us after the break.
With so many things to do in a single day, it's important to have a network you can trust. When there's family and friends to connect with and business calls to make, you need a network that is reliable and fast. Talk longer, browse faster, go farther, and roam wider. When your network is solid, the world is your oyster. QCell, your trusted network in the Gambia.
Do your banking the smart way with the new Aji Bank mobile app. Transfer money to any bank account in the Gambia. Top up airtime for all networks. Pay utility bills. Check your account balance and view mini statements. Request for ATM cards. Request for checkbooks and more in a single touch. So, do your banking in a smart way. Do your banking now with Aji Bank mobile app. Every time, is banking time. Aji Bank, your investment partner.
The future is now with QCell's 5G network. Experience speeds like never before with our new 5G Rocket Fixed Internet plan. Get speeds from 10 Mbps to 100 Mbps. Your 5G-enabled devices. Walk into QCell headquarters to get one of our 5G routers and experience the true feeling of 5G. Only with QCell. QCell brings you the future. Tech, innovation, incredible speed. The future is now. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunyapus. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Looking for the perfect place to promote your product or place your advert? Look no further than QTV. We are the premier destination for businesses looking to connect with Gambian audiences and beyond. At QTV, we offer a variety of advertising solutions to suit your needs and budget. With our diverse range of programming, you can be sure that your ad will reach a broad and engaged audience. From our popular news broadcast to our exciting music and entertainment programming, QTV has something for everyone. QTV, the premier destination for advertising in the Gambia. Contact us today and let us help you reach your audience. Atenon Q-Smart kanyo Q-Smart Plus mobile phone ji moƴƴuɗi tenon kadi ɗi yaadi e jamanu coggungun no weeɓi caméra jiɗin no laaɓi tenon kadi mobile on no yaawi battery on kadi ɓooyayi Q-Smart no yaaji no hawri e jungo 5.9 inch mo jarde guluji tati temennay tun te heɓay 15 gigabyte data temedere kanyum e noga e minitaji ɗi anduɗa a wowlay ha tampa kanyum e temetati sms ɓuri yajude ɓuri moƴƴude Q Smart Plus mobile on no yaaji te non kadi mo moƴƴi 6.5 inch mo yaawi wo kural te non kadi battery on ɓooyayi gulujinay tun heɓa oɗo mobile mi yetoma te non o arday e 30 gigabyte data temedere kanyum e noga e minitaji ɗi anduɗa a wawa yewtude kanyum e temetati sms fof ko free mi yettoma ɗiɗo data bondulji non min sendante ɗum e nder lebbi tati yahu ka customer care aji Qcell ɓurɗima wattade ko leydi ɗo maɗum hiɗa wawi noddude Qcell customer care e 111 Qcell Sunyabos menen udditi lawol ngol si woɓɓe jokki ɗum no yaadi e sartaji.
Hello and welcome back. You're watching This Morning here on QTV, and I guess, Mr. Mboja, I should say we're now onto the final lap. We're running to the finishing line,
yes,
and things like that. Why? Because in our final segment, we're talking about the Media Run Challenge, and we have a former colleague of ours here at QTV, Amadou Oba. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mr. Ade. Thank you, Mr. Mboj, for inviting me here.
Great to have you here. And for those who don't know, can you just explain to the viewers what is the Media Run Challenge?
Yes, first, it's a pleasure to be home. I call QTV my second home because, like you said, it's family to me, and it will always remain. The Media Run Challenge is a group of media personalities established as a non-profit making organization of media workers, their partners and friends, to promote healthy lives. And this also includes enhancing people's habit of exercise, taking up exercise as a habit, because we all know if you ask someone, an editor or a producer, when last the person was able to have exercise or do some exercise. For example, Mr. Mboj perhaps will tell you.
Or like, even me.
Or even you. I've been sitting on my desk all day, and I barely have time to do some exercise. So the Media Run Challenge organized fortnightly runs or walks or jogs in order to inspire people to take up the habit of exercise. In essence, that's it.
This is it. And you've said something very apt there for us. We sit at the desk all day. For me, I find any excuse to go downstairs. There's a long stairs to go down and up.
Yes.
And people think, they ask me, where are you going? I'm not going anywhere.
That's the reason.
I actually just want to not be at my desk for the whole day, because I'm here around 7 o'clock, 7:15 till about 9 o'clock at night. That's a long day.
Sure.
And that's 6 days a week. So, you know, you can't just be sitting there the whole time doing nothing. So in terms of what exactly does it involve, this kind of trying to get people?
Yeah, so that's one part of what we do at Media Run Challenge, inspiring people to take up the habit of exercise and promoting healthy lives. But also we commemorate International UN Days to also join the campaign to raise awareness. For example, this upcoming event that we're gearing up towards this Saturday, that's the Breast Cancer Month, even though the month is October. But of course, we're using this Saturday to also do our quota. We also raise funds in partnership with organizations and institutions to support students, especially those aspiring journalists and communicators, which currently we've sponsored 7 students from the Media Academy for Journalism and Communications.
Okay, MAJAC, yes.
MAJAC.
And you guys have missed a trick. You could have done it tomorrow, which is World Cities Day, and you could have done it in Banjul, the capital city. But that's good. So in terms of numbers, what sort of numbers have you been getting turning out? Because we've featured it.
Yes, I think this is not the first time. Personally, I've been coming here to talk about the Media Run Challenge. The last time I was here was with when we were commemorating the International Day of the African Child in partnership with UNICEF. And usually we gather over 100 participants. This time around, our target is 200 because, like I said, we're partnering with Women Journalists Association, who have pledged to mobilize participants. We partner with the University of the Gambia, MAJAC itself, and the Association of Health Journalists and Media Houses. So we targeting a participant list of 200. We're also partnering with ECOMIC and the National Cancer Control Program. I am glad that Fagemi, the guys before me, were actually talking about the screening and the importance it has. At Media Run Challenge, part of our activities is to organize a screening for breast cancer, which is going to be free and open to all.
Okay. And people will be asking, where is this all taking place? Where?
Yes, so usually what we do is we do it in a form of a run, a jog, a walk. Like I said, it's not a marathon, it's not a competition. You can be part of also the aims is to expand your network, make new friends, and of course meet up with old friends. Perhaps a lot of people have seen Mr. Ade or Mr. Mboj just on QTV, and hardly you see them physically. The Media Run Challenge avails you the opportunity or the platform to meet them personally and interact with them, thereby also getting to know each other. But usually we would start from Westfield. This time around we started with Westfield at Gamtel, and would walk and run and trot all the way to traffic lights. And at traffic lights is where we would be having the screening exercises and of course the campaign or awareness creation.
Great. So for anybody who doesn't know, we're talking about essentially the length of Kairaba Avenue.
Yes, the length of Kairaba Avenue.
From
Westfield to traffic lights. Yes,
lights.
About 3 kilometers or so.
Yeah, quite.
It's this Saturday.
This Saturday.
2nd of November. Yes.
This Saturday.
It starts at 8 a.m.
So they've just missed the October.
Yes.
For
making it up.
And so you talked about it's and in terms of encouraging people will say, how frequently does this activity happen?
Yeah, so usually we have it fortnightly, every 2 weeks in a month. We have the runs, but sometimes this is affected due to the UN recognized days. For example, on the 2nd would of course fall on the UN Day of Day of the impunity for crimes against journalists, on the 2nd. But again, us at Media Run Challenge, we are commemorating it on the last Saturday of November. So sometimes our calendar is affected by the UN calendar days, because like I said, we want to also use those significant days to join the rest of the world in raising awareness, because we have the most powerful tool as a media. We have radio, television, newspaper, online, all forms of media convergence in our activities. So that is why we want to use that platform, that tool, to enhance the messages during our advocacy.
Mr. Mboj, you want to come in here?
Very interesting that sort of you want to commemorate this UN designated commemorations. Well, why?
Yeah, why is because we want to join the rest of the world. We believe it's important that we also add our voices. And like I said, we have the tool, we have the platform. Our convergence is so diverse that you don't only have the media set up there. You have friends of the media. For example, if you were to commemorate such a day, you would invite other stakeholders, even the opposition, the security forces. Mostly you have these issues of journalists, clashing with security or PIU officers on coverages on duty. duties and all that. So we want to bring all those forces together and have a common understanding, such that you know my role, I know your role, we don't step on each other's way. That is essentially why.
Because when I see it, I see people chatting and, as you said, you know, exchanging
taking
numbers
and
interacting. So it goes beyond that.
Yes.
Because it's a kind of run, although it's not a competitive run, do you have kind of medical people standing by just in case?
Yes, we partner with the Gambia Red Cross and Red Crescent, and mostly we have an ambulance with us. We also partner with the Ministry of Health, like I said, and even the security, the Gambia National Army, Armed Forces, GAF would be there as well this time. They are key partners, and yeah, we consider all those things and ensure that safety comes first, especially when it has to do with women and children.
Okay. Mr. Butch?
Is it? I do hope that you sort of invent as well your own commemorative things based on what's happening here. But this is it. How do you get your funding? I'm curious to know with this video and how does it work?
Very important. Right now, in fact, we are challenged, especially with this forthcoming run. It started, so we are an ad hoc committee. We are not yet elected. Our role was to put up certain structures in place, one of which is to ensure the organization is registered, legally recognized, which we have done, to also establish a bank account and establish partnerships with like-minded organizations, which we've also started doing. So usually what we do is, before every event, we reach out to organizations, companies, and write to them and also engage them in respect to what we are actually working towards. This time around, unfortunately, organizations like UNICEF, Child Fund, and we are key partners. This time around, they're not available, but we had Gambega, who are only providing, of course, refreshment, because you need to hydrate at the end of the run.
Exactly.
And so far, apart from the National Cancer Control Program, who are providing the screening facilities and the doctors and the economic, we don't have any funding for the event.
So you have a platform here, make an appeal.
Yes, in fact, we wrote to QCell, and we are looking forward to QCell. You know, the plan was actually for QCell to come and have their T-shirts, their brand and our brand, and have the breast cancer screening logo behind. Unfortunately, we are yet to hear from them. I hope that this
I hope they're listening.
I hope they are watching. And I mean, the letter is here. I came here twice to the marketing team, and I'm yet to hear a response from them. So come and partner with us, and it's a worthy cause, I believe.
It's a worthy cause, and as you know, you would have seen that QCell has been actively involved in this.
I've seen it.
We've had our own staff screened. We've supported C3G in various projects that they've done. So it's not as if we're not getting involved. I mean, generally, I think you know, this is an opportunity to make not just a QCell, I think, but to anybody who might want to support what is obviously quite a worthy cause. Because as Mr. Mboj asked the question very pointedly, the funding. The
funding is important.
This is crucial. If this is to continue and it's to grow, then you know, funding has to be you know. So for me, my question was going to be, yes, you do this from Westfield to traffic lights. Do you try and convince journalists in other parts of the country to do similar things on the same day, so that they do things? Because all the ones we've covered have been, it's just right outside our door, so it's easy for us to cover it. But what about the rest of the country? How do you get them involved?
Yeah, so that is part of our strategic plan for the coming year. We've received reactions and, of course, participation from around the world. We, at some point, like the Day of the African Child we did the last time, we received participants all the way from Holland, the Netherlands, and they saw our engagements on social media. We have a Facebook page where we share all our contents and what we do, essentially. And we've also received responses from some eastern part of Africa who are also inspired to start organizing similar ones. And our objective, part of the strategy plan, is now we are doing it just in the combos. We want to go to the province as well. We want to decentralize it. Once we are done with that, once it becomes a national activity, then we can think about expanding it to also commemorate alongside with international media houses. And who knows? But another challenge also we're facing is bringing forth the media chiefs, because it's about the media. And yes, we have lots of young people, journalists and reporters coming to attend these runs, but hardly we see the media chiefs coming. Even though we tag them, we challenge them.
Mr. Malik Kar, are you listening?
So yeah, I'm challenging all the media chiefs, including QTV, Mr. Carr, to come on board and gear up and, you know, have that, take up that exercise. I mean, yeah, we're looking forward to their participation, because their comment will also inspire a lot of other, chiefs to also come on board.
Absolutely. And so Mr. Carr and myself and Mr. Amboch, who knows, you might see us there. But I mean, if there's a kind of final word, you've talked about kind of decentralizing it. You've talked about taking it maybe continent-wide.
Yes.
And in an interesting way, it might be quite apt, the fact that you guys commemorate these UN days. If the UN adopted a kind of media run challenge day to add to their calendar. I mean, they have some that mean nothing to us. There's World Mountains Day, for example. We don't have any mountains here, so we never commemorate that one, even though we try and commemorate. But it would be great if the UN could think, oh, you know, World Media Run Challenge Day. Maybe we should add this to our calendar. So maybe we should write to the UN. You know,
we are looking forward to that, and I think that is the reason UNICEF approached us to join them to commemorate World Children's Day, because they've seen our impact, they've participated in most of our runs, and they've seen our activities. Like I said, our activities, our engagements are just beyond the run. There's a lot of other activities embedded in it, like networking, expanding your networking, selling your brands, meeting new potential partnerships or building new relationships, and that could also expand either your business, your organization, or your campaign tool. So yeah, we are looking forward to that, and let's see how it goes. But yeah, we are calling on everyone, especially for this one, especially women and ladies. It's important that they attend and have the free screening. Yeah, the screening is very important. Early detection is key, and I believe everyone has a responsibility in one way or the other. I have sisters at home. I have inspired them to come and attend this, and I hope that the viewers would also inspire their colleagues and siblings to come and, of course, attend this run. Not just running, but also hearing the messages that would be said by health experts, like for example those that were just here, the doctors, and of course getting the opportunity to be screened for free. Now we are bringing the doctors to you. You don't have to hustle to go to the clinics or hospitals to screen yourself.
I mean, you talked about moving forward, you talked about plans. What's your engagement with, because when I go to schools and colleges here in the Gambia and even to UTG, I hear people saying, I want to be a journalist. So do you reach out to the schools and the colleges and say, yes, you might want to be, but think about things like Media Run Challenge, think about things like health, or even think about specializing in writing about, you know, healthy lifestyles?
Yeah, sure. In fact, that is one of the key reasons why we are organizing this and writing to media houses and schools. We are partnering with schools. Currently, we've written to Majak and the University of the Gambia School of Journalism and Digital Media, and they are coming, but not just to come and participate, but equally to get a comprehensive understanding of the Media Run Challenge and how we could inspire them in to support their educational career. Like I said, part of our initiatives is to raise funds to support aspiring journalists and communicators. And how do we do that is ensuring that you first come and participate, inspire a larger crowd, and potential donors would come support us, like UNICEF did the last time. The change of our project, the leftovers, we used over $53,600 to support 6 students at Majak who are doing their final advanced diploma program. And one of them is the head of their student union, and now he's thinking of going to the university, transitioning to the university. Now we're even looking forward to see how we could also include the university students in our sponsorship package. But we cannot do that without funding, like he said. And what we can do is continue doing our activities, reaching out to partners and organizations, and anytime you support us, the leftovers we would always use. And Child Phone, I forgot that part, actually have pledged henceforth to support our best students from Majak, and we also want to reach out to the Ministry of Higher Education as well to partner with him, because we understand there's a sponsorship package at the ministry that could also at least have an MOU with us to see that we are also able to sponsor more students.
Cool. Good, and we need to get at some point to the stage where, you know, people get fed up with me talking about Cape Verde, but I'm telling you, my first day there, I'd finished my dinner and I looked out, all I could see, an hour after people have eaten, people 70, 80 years old, they're all running. And you don't have to take my word for it, go there, you'll be astonished. And it's become a culture now. That's in the evenings, you just see people of all ages, from the youngest to the oldest, and they run, and that's why they're fit, that's why they can live
They're
8
healthy.
years
Yeah.
on average longer than somebody in the Gambia. Fitness is kind of part, and of course when you go to the beaches, you see all this free gym equipment. On almost all the beaches they have free gym equipment that anybody can use at any time of day or night.
Absolutely.
You know, and we need to get into that culture. They're very healthy people.
It is.
So I wonder, do you get a sense that we are living healthier lifestyles?
Yes,
What's the
absolutely.
impression of
Absolutely.
what's
This evening, if you take a stroll around Senegambia or Stink Corner, you would come across, the list you would come across is 4 participants or members of the Media Run Challenge who are having their individual nightly runs on daily basis.
And that's something I do see,
That's an
I have to be
inspiration.
honest.
Yes,
I
you
do
see it on social
when I go.
media.
Yeah, of course.
Yes,
And
that's an inspiration taken from the Media Run Challenge. Like I said, we do it fortnightly, and fortnightly there's a gap. But the idea is to inspire you to take up that habit. When I go home, for example, personally, I run after every Fajr before going to work.
Okay.
I take at least 20 minutes, 15 minutes walk and run, come, take shower, then I go to work. And that was an inspiration taken from the Media Run Challenge. So we also partner with Work for Health, which is also another huge organization that is doing a lot in terms of promoting health, because all these exercises help in, killing non-communicable diseases. And you could see it in people, healthy and unhealthy. Exercise is important.
So we're wrapping up now. So don't forget, Saturday, come and join us and take part, or just watch and then be inspired.
Sure.
But Amadou Oba, thank you very much for coming and to tell us about the Media Run Challenge. Mr. Ambosh, thank you very much. And tomorrow and today, we forgot to mention that Ibrahim Asori Balde, he mentioned that he's a new father. Today is the naming ceremony, the Pulnado, as we say in Sierra Leone. So we wish them every success, and we hope everything goes well, and we hope to join him later there. So until we come your way again tomorrow, goodbye.